Well, hello and welcome once again to Mind Mastery Accelerator, your stop for becoming a fearless entrepreneur. I am your host, attorney Sean Arnold, and I am here as I am every week with your other host, Mr. Vernon Webb, Master Executive Performance Coach. How you doing this week, Vernon?
I'm doing very well, Sean. How about you?
I'm doing wonderfully, Vernon. I am just so excited about this journey that we are taking with our listeners. It is a journey of identity transformation. We started by going through timeline therapy so that we could install in ourselves the thought, I am enough, and get rid of whatever that old disempowering belief was before then. Now we have a new operating system that says, I am enough. And we may have discovered in the face of that that we still have some challenges that, we visited imposter syndrome, and we are going to continue to visit other issues to help loosen the problem so that eventually it will fall away. So tonight, we are actually going to talk about a fascinating Silva mind control concept, which is mental projection. We are delving into the space where some of our listeners may be feeling it's not safe to be seen. I've got to, you know, stay under the radar and not step out in front. We are going to go tonight from I I'm not safe being seen to I shine. And again, we're going to do that through mental projection. That will be our method of transformation. So, mental projection, that is actually done in non physical dimensions. What do I mean by that? Well, energy follows thought. So, you want to begin by perceiving information without using your five physical senses. Here's the important thought. For each of your physical senses, you have a corresponding non physical inner sense. And you want to become familiar with where you are using these inner senses to create points of reference for you so that you can then begin to move into the unknown. Why is this important? Well, it's important because the eyes can only perceive what the mind is ready to comprehend. That is an extremely important thought. The eyes can only perceive what the mind is ready to comprehend. So today, we're going to begin to train your mind to communicate in these non physical dimensions through mental projection, taking ourselves down to the alpha level, and then using visualization and imagination to create points of reference that take us from where we are to where we want to be. Now, Silva mind control gives us this concept of mental projection. It is loosely related to remote viewing and astral projection. It is such a critical concept that I'm going to share with you a story that I think will help land the notion of these anchor points for you. And this is the story of the caveman and the blue Volkswagen. Now, what? Why are we doing that? Very simply, we're doing that because if we were to give you a detailed play by play description right now of everything that we're going to be going into regarding mental projection, we are afraid that some of you might be shocked into such a condition of just disbelief or doubt about what we're saying that we would have to spend a whole lot of time overcoming your doubt. So I'm going to tell you this story to help you. Now, the problem is that you may lack sufficient points of reference at the moment to accept these new concepts that we're talking about. Some people just think of it as woo woo. A point of reference is an anchor point. It's a little different than the anchors that we've been discussing on the show. An anchor point, a point of reference, is something that is known for you to hang on to while you reach out into new, unknown areas. You might also think of your reference points as stepping stones. Let me tell you the story of the blue Volkswagen and the caveman so that you'll know exactly what I mean. The story begins with a caveman that somehow we managed to snatch from a few million years ago into the present time. If we were to plop him down in the middle of a busy city, it's quite possible that his mental circuits would become so overloaded with so many impressions of what he is seeing that his system would simply shut down. So let's not do that to our caveman. Let's take him instead far away from everything like a big city and put him in the middle of a desert. This we can assume would differ too much from the environment that he might have encountered in his time. So let's then show him an automobile, a shiny blue Volkswagen, the famous Beetle that we're all familiar with. There on that sandy plain in the desert, surrounded on all sides, he sees this Volkswagen. He's staring at this Volkswagen. Now, you might wonder what his reaction to that Volkswagen might be. You know he's not going to think of it as an automobile or a form of transportation because he doesn't have a reference for that. Not in a million years. He has absolutely no reference point that he can use to relate to the Volkswagen. So chances are he will see little more than a wet rock. Why wet? Because it's shiny. And wet rocks are more shiny than dry rocks. So perhaps, too, there might be some association where blue equals water equals wet. Now, if one of us were to go up to the car and open the door and get in, the caveman's mouth would likely drop open in amazement. A hollow rock. What? Hollow rocks, according to the caveman's only point of reference, is a cave. So perhaps the thought might flit through this man's mind, thinking of a cave. Because what else could it be? However, if we were to then start the Volkswagen, get him into the Volkswagen, and drive away with him, it's anybody's guess what his reaction is going to be at that point because he has absolutely no point of reference for being a passenger in a vehicle. He just might panic. He might pass out. It might be too much for him. He might just go numb and completely shut down. Because rocks do some many strange things now and then, but to suddenly emit all that racket and then buzz off into the distance, that would be far beyond the rock experience of our caveman. So once again, he would completely lack a point of reference to help him understand this experience. So let's make it a bit easier for this poor fellow by breaking the concept of car down to him by degrees. We'll let him relate to things that he already knows and understands. So we drive around the desert for a little while and then we pull up next to a tree trunk across which we have made four cuts. Now, a log is nothing new. He's seen plenty of those in the forest. So he looks at this particular set of logs without any particular reaction. He's just looking at it. He will pick up one of those four cutoff sections and he might wonder for a moment how it got that way, but wood is familiar to him. So it's not going to throw him. But as to seeing a potential wheel in that slab in his hand, no. Wheels have not been invented yet. So it's still completely out of his frame of reference. Our next step then is to knock holes in the middle of the round tree trunk sections. After we select a suitably straight limb from the upper part of the tree as an axle, we mount the two round sections on that tree limb. We then offer the wheels and the axle to our friend for comment, and he's not impressed. He's just looking at it. He's just seeing logs and a tree limb. The potential utility of the device as a vehicle still escapes him. So we then take the other two rounds and take another branch from the upper portion of the tree and stick it through those two rounds and put it near the other two rounds and the other two axles. And we turn to him with a great big smile. And he's still just looking at it. He doesn't understand what we're trying to show him. He doesn't even understand that we are trying to show him anything. He's just looking at wood. So we can then take some more branches and spread them between the two sets of wheels that we've laid on the ground and then bind those branches with vines. So now we've got a platform and it's starting to dawn on him a little, but he's still not quite sure. We can create a body of the vehicle with some skins and shape it as much as we can to look like that Volkswagen Beetle. And he's still not quite sure what we're doing. So we have him crawl inside those skins and sit on that platform. And then we get behind the platform and give it a push. All of a sudden, the light goes on in his eyes. He understands that what he's sitting on could be a vehicle. He begins to think to himself, wow, I might be able to use this to put a big, heavy animal on it and carry it to my cave. So he now understands that concept. It's obvious to him now. He now has points of reference that we developed for him one by one. He can now grasp the notion of that thing we built for him being a vehicle the same way the Volkswagen is a vehicle. That's a fascinating story to me. And it actually brings another story to mind, which is that of the conquistadors. I understand that when they approached South America, the people who lived there were looking out over the ocean and they could not see the ships. They could see the waves breaking in a funny fashion. They could see the spray of the water being odd. They could see the birds diving and scattering in odd fashion. But what they could not see was that big wooden galleon. What they could not see were those huge white sails. Why? Because they had no point of reference. They simply could not see the ships. In NLP, we call that a scotoma. We call it a blind spot. Vernon, what does Silva mind control say about blind spots and mental projection?
First of all, you did an outstanding job explaining points of reference. You just renewed and refreshed my experience with it because I know that what we're capable of doing is creating certain mental pictures that will move us forward so that we can become more successful. Yes, we do have a blind spot. That blind spot, by the way, let's call it opportunities. And if your mind is not ready to see an opportunity, it could be right in your face and you wouldn't see it because it's not something you're used to seeing. You don't get opportunities. You could find the perfect job, career, relationship, money right in your face. But if your mind isn't ready to see it, as far as you're concerned, it doesn't exist. Can you imagine how difficult that must be to find a relationship with someone right in your face, but you can't see it? So, what we want to do is we want to begin this with the fact that Jose, and I'm going to be really sact the way that he taught me. First of all, we relate to sound. We've always related to sound. There's music that makes you feel a certain way. You hear some music, it makes you happy. Yay. You hear some music, like country western music, and it makes you sad. I ain't got no money. Dun, 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 dun. My dog done bit me. My wife done left me. Just because of the sound. So I share that with you because you're going to be hearing a sound that I know you're not going to enjoy. It's not going to be nothing you can sit up there. No, no. But your mind likes it. You're going to hear two sounds at one time. One sound is going to be a metronome, and that's a just like a metronome. Your conscious mind likes it, and as the exercise progresses, that metronome is going to slow, which means that your conscious mind is going to slow. That's what we want. The other sound you hear is really going to sound like a vibration. And that vibration is going to be vibrating, if you will, at 10 cycles per second, right within the alpha range. And so both sounds are designed to help you reach that level of mind where you can just become one with your subconscious mind, because that's where you're going to be doing your programming. Now, let's talk about mental projection.
Mental projection.
Ready? Understand that I'm going to be reading from Jose's manual, just the way he wrote it. So at this point, we're talking about mental projection to your home. As we listen to the mind control sound, your mind begins to want to match it.
Match.
We will begin this exercise with the 3-to-1 method. Find a comfortable position. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath, and while exhaling, mentally repeat and visualize the number three 3 times. Take another deep breath, and while exhaling, mentally repeat and visualize the number 2 3 times. Take another deep breath, and while exhaling, mentally repeat and visualize the number 1 3 times. You're now at level 1, the basic plane level that you're able to use for a purpose, any purpose you desire. To help you enter a deeper, healthier level of mind, I'm going to count from 10 to 1. On each descending number, you will feel yourself going deeper, and you will enter a deeper, healthier level of mind. 10, 9, feel going deeper. 8, 7, 6, deeper and deeper. 5, 4, 3, deeper and deeper. 2, 1. You're now at a deeper, healthier level of mind, deeper than before. You may enter a deeper, healthier level of mind by simply relaxing your eyelids. Relax your eyelids. Feel how relaxed they are. Allow this feeling of relaxation to flow slowly downward throughout your body, all the way down to your toes. It's a wonderful feeling to be deeply relaxed, a very healthy state of being. To help you enter a deeper, healthier level of mind, I'm going to count from 1 to 3 and cause a sound with my fingers. At that moment, you will project yourself mentally to your ideal place of relaxation. I will then stop talking to you, and when you next hear my voice, 1 hour of time will have elapsed at this level of mind. My voice will not startle you. You'll take a deep breath, relax, and go deeper. 1, 2, 3. Project yourself mentally to your ideal place of relaxation until you hear my voice again. Relax. Relax. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, relax and go deeper. Whenever you desire to enter deeper, healthier levels of mind, all you need to do is to take a deep breath, relax, and go deeper. And you will enter deeper, healthier levels of mind. You will continue to listen to my voice. You will continue to follow the instructions at this level of the mind and any other level, including the outer conscious level. This is for your benefit. You desire it, and it is so. Whenever you hear me mention the word relax, all unnecessary movements and activities of your body, brain, and mind will cease immediately, and you'll become completely passive and relaxed, physically and mentally. I may bring you out of this level or a deeper level by counting to you from 1 to 5. At the count of 5, your eyes will open. You'll be wide awake, feeling fine, and in perfect health. The difference between genius mentality and lay mentality is that geniuses use more of their minds and use them in a special manner. You are now able to use more of your mind and to use it in a special manner. The following are beneficial statements that you may occasionally repeat while at these levels of the mind. Repeat mentally after me. My increasing mental faculties are for serving humanity better. Every day, in every way, I'm getting better, better, and better. Positive thoughts bring me benefits and advantages I desire. I have full control and complete dominion over my sensing faculties at this level of the mind and any other level, including the outer conscious level. And this is so. Negative thoughts and negative suggestions have no influence over me at any level of the mind. I will always maintain a perfectly healthy body and mind. Effective sensory projection statements for your success. I am now able to attune my intelligence by developing my sensing faculties and to project them to any point or place on this planet so as to be aware of any actions taking place if this is necessary and beneficial for humanity. I'm now able to attune my intelligence by developing my sensing faculties and to project them to any point or place on any planet within the solar system, any solar system within the galaxy, and any galaxy within the universe, so as to be aware of any actions taking place if this is necessary and beneficial for humanity. I'm now able to attune my intelligence by developing my sensing faculties and to project them to the different matter kingdoms, the inanimate matter kingdom, any of its levels and depths, the animate matter kingdom with reproductive intelligence, plant life, and animal life, and any of its levels and depths, and the animate matter kingdom with reproductive intelligence and awareness of existence, the human body and mind kingdom, and any of its levels and depth. I am now able to detect abnormalities whenever such abnormalities exist within any kingdom, any level, and any depth, if this is necessary and beneficial for humanity. I'm now able to apply corrective measures and to bring back to normalcy any abnormality found within any kingdom, any level, and any depth, if this is necessary and beneficial for humanity. We'll now program effective sensory projection for your success. We will program information through use of mental projection. We will establish subjective points of reference at the imaginative dimension, the subjective dimension at different levels and depths. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 3 and cause a sound with my fingers. At that time, you will imagine yourself to be standing about 30 feet in front of your home. You will study the outer appearance of your home, scanning the scene. You will start at the top left of the scene and go from left to right, just as you do when reading a page of a book. You will then go to the left side again, but a little lower than before, and again, go from left to right. You will continue going a little lower each time until you reach the ground level. I will now count from 1 to 3 and cause a sound with my fingers so that you may imagine projecting yourself to the front of your home. 1, 2, 3. Project yourself mentally to the front of your home, standing about 30 feet from it. Begin scanning the scene at the upper left-hand corner, going slowly from left to right. Lower each time until you reach the ground level. You will go slowly and stop to study anything that attracts your intelligence while scanning, such as the roof, windows, window frames, doors, Study anything that attracts you. Begin by studying the roof of your home. What material is it made of? What color is it? Continue studying everything that attracts you until you reach the ground level. Concentrate on color. Take your time. Study color. Take your time. Study color. Scan the ground level. Now focus your attention on the front door and concentrate on the door knob or handle. Mentally move close to the door, close enough to touch the door handle. Expect the door to appear to increase in size as you get closer. Mentally touch the doorknob or handle. Open the door. Mentally enter your home, closing the door behind you. Mentally walk toward your living room. Once you've entered your living room, stand at the center, facing the south wall. You've been here before. You've been here during daylight hours. You've been here during nighttime, with the lights turned on and lights turned off. I'm going to count from 1 to 3. At the count of 3, it will be daytime. 1, 2, 3. It is now daytime. You're standing at the center of your living room, facing the south wall. You've been here before. You know how much light enters this room during the day, and you recognize what is in front of you, what is behind you. You know what is to your left and what is to your right. At the count of 3, we will change the scene to nighttime with the house lights turned on. 1, 2, 3. The scene has changed to nighttime, and you are still standing in the middle of the living room facing the south wall. You've been here before. You know what is in front of you, what is behind you, what is to your left, and what is to your right. At the count of 3, the lights will go out. 1, 2, 3. The lights are out, and you are standing in darkness, facing the south wall. Although the living room looks dark, you still know what is in front of you, what is behind you, what is to your left, and what is to your right. At this time, concentrate on the wall before you, the south wall. You can sense it being a certain distance away, and you know what is on this wall. Also know the color of this wall. Use your memory, your knowing, your sensing to make a study of your south wall. Scan the wall as you did the front of your home, beginning at the upper left corner and going from left to right, a little lower each time until you reach the floor level. Study everything that attracts you, pictures, curtains, and furniture. Especially concentrate on objects that contain color. Take your time. Study color. Take your time. Study colors. Now mentally walk toward the south wall and stand close enough to touch it. At the count of 3, you will objectively, in real life, raise your hand to touch the wall. One, two, three. Objectively stretch out your arm. Raise your hand and with the palm of your hand, touch the wall. Use your imagination to sense the wall as being smooth or rough, as cold or warm. Whatever you perceive with your imagination at this dimension, you can use as a point of reference in the future. At the count of three, you will imagine projecting yourself subjectively within the wall. One, two, three. You are now within the wall. You may return your hand to rest on your lap. At this time, we will conduct 4 tests subjectively. First, we will test for light, its intensity and color. Our second test is for temperature. The third test is for odor. And the fourth for solidity of material by reflected sound. At the count of three, we will test for light, its intensity and color. 1, 2, 3. Subjectively test for light, intensity, and color. How much light do you sense? What color do you sense? Whatever you perceive with your imagination at this dimension, you can use as a point of reference in the future. At the count of three, test for temperature. 1, 2, 3. Subjectively test for temperature. Is there a difference in temperature between the inside and the outside of the wall? Whatever you perceive with your imagination at this dimension, you can use as a point of reference in the future. At the count of three, test for odor. 1, 2, 3. Subjectively test for odor. Is there a difference in odor between the inside and the outside of the wall? Whatever you perceive with your imagination at this dimension, you can use as a point of reference in the future. At the count of three, test for solidity of material by knocking on the inside of the wall. 1, 2, 3. Objectively, form a fist and knock on the inside of the subjective wall. Objectively, go through the motions as you do when you knock on a door. What kind of sound would you expect to hear reflected back to you? Whatever you perceive with your imagination at this dimension, you can use as a point of reference in the future. At the count of three, you will come out of the wall and be just a few inches away from it. 1, 2, 3. You're out of the wall, just a few inches away. Now at the count of three, you will be at arm's length. 1, 2, 3. You're now at arm's length. At the count of three, you will be at the center of your living room, facing your south wall. 1, 2, 3. You're now at the center of your living room, facing your south wall. You know the color of your south wall. At the count of three, the color of the wall will change to black. 1, 2, 3. Color of the wall is now black. You can get a true black color by imagining a painter with a can of black paint and a brush in his hand, painting the wall black and about to finish painting it. Your south wall is now all black. At the count of three, it will be red. 1, 2, 3. To get a true red color, again, imagine the painter about to finish painting it red. At the count of three, the wall will be green. 1, 2, 3. The wall is now green. Imagine it green. At the count of three, the wall will be blue. 1, two, three. The wall is now blue. Imagine it blue. At the count of three, the wall will be violet. One, two, three. The wall is now violet. Imagine it violet. We will change the color back to blue, back to green, back to red, now back to black. We will now mentally examine a chair, selecting any chair we wish. Mentally push it against the black wall. From your position in the center of the living room facing the south wall, mentally lift the chair about 20 degrees above the horizontal plane of sight in the area of your mental screen. We will examine the chair, study its material, the upholstery, if it is upholstered, and how it is attached to the chair, and the color of the chair. Now mentally turn the chair toward the left, now away from you, now toward the right, now facing you. Whatever you perceive with your imagination at this dimension, you can use as a point of reference in the future. Now, at the count of three, the color of the wall will change to its actual color. One, two, three. The wall is now its actual color. Again, study the chair. How does it stand out against this background? Whatever you perceive with your imagination at this dimension, you can use as a point of reference in the future. At the count of three, the color of the wall will change to red. One, two, three. The wall is now red. Study the chair. How does it stand out against a red background? Whatever you perceive with your imagination at this dimension, you can use as a point of reference in the future. At the count of three, the color of the wall will change to green. One, two, three. The wall is now green. Study the chair. How does it stand out against a green background? Whatever you perceive with your imagination at this dimension, you can use as a point of reference in the future. At the count of three, the color of the wall will change to blue. One, two, three. The wall is now blue. Study the chair. How does it stand out against a blue background? Whatever you perceive with your imagination at this dimension, you can use as a point of reference in the future. The color of the wall will now change back to green, back to red, back to the natural color of the wall, back to black. At the count of three, the chair will disappear from the scene. One, two, three. The chair has disappeared from the scene. The wall is now black. At the count of three, we will mentally bring into the scene a watermelon. It will be up against the wall at the height where we had the chair. One, two, three. Study this watermelon. Use your knowing, your memory, your sensing. Above all, use your imagination to study the watermelon. Observe how the green stands out against the black background. At the count of three, the watermelon will be cut in half. One, two, three. The watermelon is now cut in half. And you can visualize how the red portion of the watermelon, lined with black seeds, stands out against the white inner rind and the green of the outside. As you mentally bring the two halves slowly toward you, notice how they appear to increase in size. Examine the various colors, the red, the white, the black, and the green from only a few inches away. Now imagine the odor and taste of watermelon. Whatever you perceive with your imagination at this dimension, you can use as a point of reference in the future. At the count of three, the watermelon will be near the wall. One, two, three. The watermelon is now near the wall. At the count of three, the two halves will come together. One, two, three. Now, at the count of three, the watermelon will disappear from the scene. One, two, three. Watermelon has disappeared from the scene. At the count of three, a lemon will appear at the same level near the wall. One, two, three. A lemon appears in a fluorescent yellow color that stands out against the black wall. Bring the lemon closer to you, noticing how it appears to increase in size as it approaches. Stop the approaching lemon when it is only a few inches away and examine its color. Now imagine the odor and taste of a lemon. Whatever you perceive with your imagination at this dimension, you can use as a point of reference in the future. At the count of three, the lemon will be near the wall. One, two, three. The lemon is now near the wall, a little higher than the horizontal level of sight. At the count of three, the lemon will disappear from the scene. One, two, three. The lemon has disappeared from the scene. At the count of three, an orange will appear. One, two, three. An orange has appeared on the scene. Observe the color at a distance. Now bring the orange closer. Again, observe the color. Now imagine the odor and taste of an orange. Whatever you perceive with your imagination in this dimension, you can use as a point of reference in the future. At the count of three, the orange will be near the wall. One, two, three. The orange is now near the wall. At the count of three, the orange will disappear from the scene. One, two, three. The orange has disappeared from the scene. At the count of three, three bananas will appear. One, two, three. Three bananas have appeared. Study the color from far and near. Now imagine the odor and taste of banana. Whatever you perceive with your imagination at this dimension, you can use as a point of reference in the future. At the count of three, the bananas will be near the wall. One, two, three. Now at the count of three, the bananas will disappear from the scene. One, two, three. Bananas have disappeared from the scene. At the count of three, the color of the wall will change back to its actual color. One, two, three. The wall is now its actual color. Whatever you perceive with your imagination at this dimension, you can use as points of reference in the future. It is now an accomplished fact that subjective points of reference have been established at the imaginative dimension, at the subjective dimension, at different levels and different depths. To function at these levels and to use these points of reference, all you need to have is a sincere desire to solve problems. In our next session, we will program information at different levels and different depths of the inanimate matter kingdom. We will establish subjective points of reference at levels for stainless steel and copper. We will also program information for your benefit in the animate matter kingdom with reproductive intelligence, the plant life kingdom, at different levels and different depths. Projection to a fruit tree through seasonal changes and a study of a leaf. So be sure to impress the metals and leaf prior to our next session. Every time you function at these levels of the mind and at these points of reference, you will receive beneficial effects physically and mentally. You may use these levels of the mind and these points of reference to help yourself physically and mentally. You may use these levels of the mind and these points of reference to help your loved ones physically and mentally. You will use these levels of the mind and these points of reference to help any human being who needs help physically and mentally. You will never use these levels of the mind or these points of reference to harm any human being. If this be your intention, you will not be able to function within these levels of the mind. You will always use these levels of the mind and these points of reference in a constructive, creative manner for all that is good, honest, pure, clean, and positive. This is so. You will continue to strive to take part in constructive and creative activities to make this a better world to live in, so that when we move on, we shall have left behind a better world for those who follow. You will consider the whole of humanity, depending on their ages, as fathers or mothers, brothers or sisters, sons or daughters. You are a superior human being. You have greater understanding, compassion, and patience with others. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5 and cause a sound with my fingers. At that moment, you will open your eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. You'll have no ill effects whatsoever in your head, no headache, no ill effects whatsoever in your hearing, no buzzing in your ears, no ill effects whatsoever in your vision and eyesight. Vision, eyesight, and hearing improve every time you function at these levels of mind. 1, 2, coming out slowly now. 3, at the count of 5, you will open your eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before, feeling the way you feel when you slept the right amount of revitalizing, refreshing, relaxing, healthy sleep. 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before.
Wow.
That, ladies and
That
gentlemen,
is
is a workout.
that is extraordinary. That is extraordinary. So let's talk about what just happened for a moment.
What you did is you established points of reference for mental projection because what you just learned to do is establish the ability. You started the ability to function in a non-physical dimension. It's the dimension of thought, the dimension of mind, where there is no definition of time or space. That's important. And establishing that belief allows you to be able to move your mind anywhere in the universe, anywhere in your body. And the more you practice, and if you've been practicing, You can feel what's going on inside your mind. You can see yourself. Your confidence grows as you continue to practice. Developing the mind is very much like going to the gym. If you go to the gym for 30 minutes once a week, that's not bad, but you're not going to establish the kind of physique that you're looking for. I tell my clients only go to level, only use your mind on the days that you think. Other than that, no problem.
I think most days. So I should do that most days.
That would be a
Is that
good
what you're
idea,
saying?
I would say.
That is fantastic. So, as I was listening to you and participating in the exercise, I could really see the watermelon. I could really smell the lemon.
Yes.
My mouth started watering when I started looking at that bright yellow, the
Yes,
neon yellow. So I think what we are imparting to our entrepreneur friends tonight is a method of strengthening your mind and training your mind to perceive things other than with your five senses. That will help with problem solving.
absolutely.
Some people would say that helps with influencing people that you may need to influence to get the things done that you need to get done. Again, I said that this method of mental projection is very close to remote viewing. It is very close to astral projection. And so in that way, some people may think of it as, oh, this is completely woo-woo. And some people, they go to spiritual levels with it and they want to attach it to positive or negative. And I think that we can avoid taking that step and just really think of it at the level of mental calisthenics, just training your mind to develop those points of reference. So, Vernon, I think our listeners could do well by repeating this lesson over the next week until they come to see us again. You might want to even use earphones so that you can truly hear that. Is
Ooh.
that a binaural beat that's
That
going
that
on? And
those two sounds are going to have an
I had a
impact on you.
and a boom, 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 and a boom, boom, and a boom, boom, boom. And so I think the important thing is that it helps you bring your brain waves down. It's a really
Does.
huge assistant to you. So, listeners, we invite you to listen to this program repeatedly over the next week so that you can understand at a really intuitive level what we mean when we say project your consciousness. You projected your consciousness into an inanimate object, several inanimate objects today. You went into the south wall of your living room and you smelled what the inside of your wall smells like. Hello. You saw what the inside of your wall looks like. Did you hear the pitter patter of little scritchy scratchies in
They're
the
mice.
wall? That's not a good thing. I'm happy to report I did not hear any pitter patter.
It's interesting because I've had students tell me that it felt congested because they were smelling the plaster
Yes.
and they couldn't wait to get out because it was so real. They were
Yeah.
smelling the plaster. And when you
Yes.
can project your mind where you can be impacted by that, when you can create a picture of a lemon and your mouth begins to water, all right, you're there.
That is just wonderful, Vernon. I want to thank you for taking us on this journey this evening.
My
That was
pleasure.
fascinating. That's the first time I've projected myself into a wall. And If our listeners were listening closely, they noticed that there are other things, metals, different kinds of metals. And then once you move from those inanimate objects, you can project into different inanimate objects. Then you project into animate objects that don't have the ability to reproduce themselves, like a tree, a leaf of a tree. And then you
Correct.
can project yourself into animate objects, that passing cat or dog,
Keep
the
an eye on it.
bird up in the sky. What does the world look like when you project your consciousness into that bird? This is powerful stuff, Vernon.
It is. And the fact that you're able to now use your imagination, it begs the question, what do you want? I
So
mean,
now
what do
you
you
can
really
begin
want?
to visualize what you really want, and you're able to mentally project yourself to that place where you have what you really want, and you're able to see what it looks like, smell what it smells like, hear what it sounds like, taste it. Go ahead, lick the inside of that wall. You know you'll want to.
Curious.
This is powerful, powerful, good stuff.
It is. It is. I have
So,
enjoyed sharing it.
listeners, we encourage you to listen to the show again, to continue to project your consciousness into inanimate objects. And then, as you gain the strength in doing that, begin to project your consciousness into animate objects. And then, what can they do with that ultimately?
Ultimately, this is all about being able to strengthen your ability to imagine subjective communication, being able to function in a non-physical dimension. Can you imagine how powerful that can be for you if you're talking to someone who's around the block or if you're talking to someone who's across the country? Doesn't matter because at that particular dimension, time and space have no definition.
Absolutely. And quantum physics will tell us that we're all entangled at the quantum level. All of us are entangled with everything. So,
Yeah,
whatever we want, it's right here with us. We
that is
just have to
correct.
project ourselves into it and then use that non-physical dimension to bring things to fruition.
I would say that what you're looking to do, and you're absolutely correct, Sean, it's all here now. But what you want to do is align yourself with prosperity. When you think prosperity, when you think about wealth, when you think about having what you want, you are creating that mental picture and you are aligning yourself with what it is that you want. And the way that the universe works, it doesn't poof, bring you money on your front door. What it does is it provides, hear me, it provides opportunities for you to have what it is that you say that you want. That's the way the universe works. It provides opportunities. And when you believe that you're worthy, you love what you do, you love who you are, it will happen. Trust me when I tell you.
That's just beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that's a perfect place to wrap it up for this evening. We invite you to come see us again next week. Drop us a comment below and let us know how that meditation went for you and what that experience was like when you projected your consciousness into that wall. What came up for you? What possibilities are now on the horizon for you now that you know you can do this?
Exactly.
Give us a like if this resonated with your spirit on any level, and share this video with somebody who needs to hone their imagination and their visualization and their non physical inner senses. And come see us again next week on Mind Mastery Accelerator, where we will
Goes around,
continue the journey of
comes around.
transformation.
Enjoy that. What goes around comes around. See you next week.
Bye bye.
Bye.